If you're anything like me, you probably feel like you haven't achieved as much in your life as you wanted to at this point. You haven't achieved what you set out to when you first started watching these videos on YouTube. Right now, I'm in this weird middle ground. The last few years, I've made a few $100,000, 300 grand online. I have a small YouTube channel. I've built a couple of businesses. It's been nice, but all mediocre, I would say. So don't worry, I'm not about to tell you to be grateful for what you have, because to be honest, I'm not. And if you aren't, then good. Because that feeling is ultimately the only thing that's keeping me going. It's like I have all this comfortable stuff around me, all this stuff that's so nice and I should be so grateful to have, but I'm just not. Because ultimately at the end of the day, it's not what I want. And I think I've finally figured out why. So I left Australia 3 years ago with some pretty big, dreams. But most importantly, I left to prove other people wrong. Like that was my main motivation. I left Australia to prove to everyone back there that I could achieve things like making money online, being successful, being rich, living in Europe, living by myself. So I left Australia with an agency. I was doing 5K a month. But ultimately, I bought a course, Charlie Morgan's program, and I became a closer. And then from there, I quit and I became a sales coach. And this was all in the span of about 2 years. By my standards, I think I've had mediocre success in all of those areas. Now, don't get me wrong. I've made plenty of money and achieved lots of things, but it's just never quite been at the level that I envisioned when I left home. And I understand that this is because I was in this survival mindset the entire time. Now, you might ask, why was I in survival mindset? Well, because I was so afraid of failing that once I got the opportunity to show to these people and prove to these people that I could do the thing I set out to do, I was much more focused on keeping that thing and just surviving at a mediocre level of success than I was expanding and growing and having a growth mindset. And I think that at the core of all of this, the thing that ultimately hurts most of us and kills more dreams than anything else is the shame of failing. It's that feeling of shame that you're going to have to go back to wherever you came from, literally or figuratively, with your tail between your legs and tell those people that they were right, that you didn't succeed. So let's break this down sort of step by step. It always starts with a vision. We all have a vision, right? We all have a vision, a dream, a life that we want. That vision might be very detailed. The more detailed, the better. And let's just say, for example, in this scenario, the vision is a massive house, 3-story house. You can see it, you can smell the air, you have a very clear vision. But to achieve that vision, there is a very dark and gloomy path with lots of dragons and lots of tribulation and trials, and you have to walk through that path and you're not sure if you're going to make it through that path. And you have to tell everyone in your village that you are going to walk the path. And if you fail, you have to go back. So before you even take your first step, you get this feeling, this shame of failure. So what you do is what kills everyone's dream and why everyone ends up in mediocrity. We temper our expectations. Instead of envisioning the big, amazing house, we envision a slightly smaller, more attainable version of that beautiful house. And this path, it's a little bit easier. We have expected outcomes and we have an acceptable chance of failure. So we walk that path. And you know what happens? You will always get what you believe you can have. And that is the reality. You probably could have had that big house, but you let the fear, and I've let the fear of not being able to do it and looking like an idiot in front of my peers stop me from even walking the path or taking the opportunities or jumping on the more risky chance or opportunity. And I ended up with exactly what I envisioned. When I set out after about, the first month, I was like, okay, if I can just make money on the internet, live in Europe for a couple of years, have an apartment to myself, I will be content. But when I left, that was not the vision. The vision was 100K a month, traveling to every country, massive Airbnbs. But when I got there, I realized how difficult it was going to be, and I tempered my expectation. And guess what I got? I got exactly what I believed I deserved and what I could have. I survived my way long enough, 3 years almost now, and I ended up here. Yeah, I had some success along the way. Sure, don't get me wrong. But I had just enough success to appease everyone else and appease myself and feel good, but not enough to really get where I wanted to go, because the risk was much greater to achieve those things. I stayed as a closer for much longer than I should have. So you might be asking yourself, like, Louis, what is the solution to this? It seems all great to at least understand it, but how do you overcome this fear of failure? And I think really the only solution is you just have to get over yourself, because if no one else existed in a vacuum, it was just me and my goal. If I didn't hit my goal in the time frame that I gave myself, I'd just try again. Because as we all know, if you just don't stop, eventually you're probably going to hit it, right? Because you will learn enough. It might happen when you're 90, but eventually across a long enough time horizon, you will hit it. So if I didn't hit it within a year in a vacuum and no one knew, I wouldn't care. I would just try for the next year. So you kind of just have to get over yourself, right? And you don't owe anyone anything. Like these people that you're trying to prove wrong, and like I would feel comfortable saying that because I know that all of the guys that are successful, we're all just trying to prove something to someone. When you do succeed, you can't go back and say, ha ha, I won, because then they win. So you just need to remove that and forget about it, and remove the ego that you have around being perfect. This ego of failing, it's like it just doesn't matter. You just need to get rid of it. You only have to be willing to continue to try. And if you are willing to keep trying, then you have achieved and proved to yourself that you can. Because remember, you will get what you believe you can have. So if you just believe you can have more, then you will get more. Obviously, there are things that need to happen, but the very first step for achieving anything is genuinely believing that you can, because if you don't believe it, you're never even going to take that first step. So you need to be very, very specific. And this is what I'm doing into 2026. Being incredibly specific on what you want and only focus on that. You need to plan and detail exactly what the next year is going to look like. How many days you're going to work in a row, when you're going to take some time off, what you're going to be doing, what is the goal, and don't let the anxiety and doubt be mistaken for the wrong plan. You already know what you need to do. You've watched enough videos. Right now, I can tell you right now, start a business, scale it up. It's very, very simple. Do cold calls, do sales calls, deliver a service. It's not that hard. There's enough information out there, but it's this fear of failure that is going to kill you if you don't get super clear on what it is, and then just remove any hesitation around caring what people think, if you do it or not. And just remove the timeline. So if it happens in a year, if it happens in 10, I do not care. I have not failed. I will keep pushing. And ultimately, that's, I think, all it takes. So for me this year, I've proved whatever I needed to prove, or I'm just letting that go. That's fine. It's done. I know exactly what I want, why I want it, and exactly what the next year is going to look like. So all I have to do is take literally one step every single day and just not allow my brain to overthink my way through that. So yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much like the biggest thing that's been, hurting me over the last few years. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.